Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing Ninja Gaiden 3 on Ultimate Ninja difficulty. We're now on day 6. So I must say this, guys, ahoy matey, because we've got some pirates. Remember in day 2, these pirates were living under the sand? Well, now it appears they're living under the snow. So I'm glad to see these pirates back here. And this first section, getting to the initial save falcon here, gave me a run for my money. I will say this. Switch to your dragon sword for this fight, and then just keep the dragon sword on because we're going to be dealing with some slashers and it's basically kind of a shit show because on the remake for this game, what they did is they took out the alchemists and the slashers and just had you fight the motorcycle guys or the ice riders here. But on this version, how it was originally designed is that as you come up here, you'll have slashers spawning out of these icicle prism things here, and then on top of them, or I should say alongside them, you have these riders. And while you might want to think about healing here, like you might think, well, I can't do all this without healing. You have to, because they've adjusted this once again randomly so that you cannot use your Nimpo here. No matter how many UTs you get, it's just not going to add up. They're just not going to let you do it. I don't know why they do it. It doesn't seem like it's random sometimes to me. It seems like they just don't want you to use it. Like the fight was designed for you not to heal. And that's just kind of strange. But anyway, so these are the slashers. You can do wind paths into flying swallows. Those work all the time. If you can get the wind path to work, that is. The Izuna drop works 100% of the time, providing that you don't fail it or you don't have any input drops. The flying swallow works, I would say, 50-50. Other than that, like the tried and true move here is the Izuna drop. I wouldn't even waste time going for OTs here because it wastes time and you're not going to accrue any Nimpo. I mean, we are, as you can see here, but it's that pale yellow shade, so I can already tell that we can't use it. So yeah, this took a couple of hours. This was completely blindsided me here because I didn't know that all this existed on the original, and sure enough it does. So what you do is just continually Izuna drop those slashers, those volatile imps over here, but don't even OT them. It just wastes time. Some of them randomly will start to explode, and I don't think they can be OT'd at that point to get them out of there. You just have to run away from them. Okay, so here's us clearing up the first set of these ice riders over here. You'll have more ice riders coming in when you have the alchemists. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my UT over here with the scythe. I'm going to try to line up as many enemies as I possibly can, but it is actually in your best interest to take out any riders before you use your OT, because if you rewatch that footage, I believe he targeted some of the riders, if not some, then at least one. So it's much better to have the full focus of the UT on these guys, like get them in a really nice line, and I only was able to kill 2 on this run. I think I was only ever able to kill 2. I never killed as many as 3, and I don't know how many there are. 5, 6, I don't know, maybe 6. But the big issue here is he won't target the unless it's like right in front of your fucking face. He won't target the motorcycle riders. This would work really nicely if he never targeted either the slashers in the previous phase or if he never targeted these alchemists here, because as it stands, you have to wrestle with the aim to switch from the alchemists to the riders, and it's completely aggravating, very aggravating. So all we're gonna do now is just move around. I think yeah, see, there's a couple of these riders left, and I just don't want to fight these alchemists if I know there are riders circling around the area, you know, bent on shooting projectiles at me and maybe colliding with me and dealing, you know, pretty good damage to me, and I don't want that. So I would say just keep jumping around here. You're not likely to get hit if you're careful, and you're watching your surroundings and you're giving these guys a pretty wide berth. Just take care of the riders. At one point, see, something was tricking my mind at first, because what happened is I used that UT on the Alchemists when they first came out, and then I built up another UT taking care of the Riders, and I thought to myself, well, that would be a pretty good technique. Get to this phase, take all the Riders up, build up your UT, and then use a second UT on the rest of the Alchemists. Kill as many as you possibly can, but I think it was a glitch. I never could replicate it. And it's rather difficult because you can't see as well as you usually can, and these guys, their attire blends in with the snow. So it's probably going to turn out that you're fighting like 4 at once, and that's pretty damn difficult. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame that he targets the threat that you don't want to shoot the Alchemists. You're not dealing them any damage. They can't possibly get damaged by the arrows. So anyway, I'm just trying to jump around here and find that rider that I have left. Sometimes I think they kind of like fade out of the fight and come back at certain times because I can hardly ever see them. It could be because I can't see much here anyway, but for instance, once I killed all the Alchemists, I still had like one rider left, so that was telling me, maybe they do kind of fade in and out of the fight. I'm not sure, but it felt like that, and who knows. But I never expected all this to happen here when, on Razor's Edge, it's just the riders. But I was actually having fun here. The music's really nice, and it's a nice challenging fight to initiate you into day 6. So, just 2 left, really? That's pretty damn good. Try to stun 2 at once, because that Falcon's Talon has a pretty good range to it, even though, like, not the range per se, but like the spread of the attack. It's very common to stun 2 guys, like when 2 are charging at you and you press Y to stun. Very common to stun 2 at once. Because the thing is, they hang out pretty damn closely together, so... There we go, we got one down. See, it's just not building up the Nimpo at all. Okay, it looks like we have 3 left. And I just don't want to, and I'm sure you're the same way when you play this, you don't want to run into them. Like, you don't want to think that they're nowhere in sight, only that for them to be really closely to you and you can't even tell because of the snow over here. I love the blood effects on the snow, though, that those 2 colors starkly contrasted with one another. Looks like we have 3 left. So just be extremely patient here and just look for your openings when they're separated a little bit, or if they're right next to each other, then you can possibly stun both. Like, I think happens at least once in this fight. And then, of course, whenever you stun both, like, you back off because you think that you didn't stun either one of them, and then both of them fall over, and then by then it's too late because they're already getting to their feet. But it was mostly on these fights here where I failed. It was just because I kept getting mauled by those slashes. See, exactly what happened right there. I didn't think I could stun them, but I did. Is there only 2, or I thought we had 3 left? Maybe the other guy is hanging out somewhere else. I don't know. But I think I actually do like this fight. I think that mechanically it's absurd for the riders. Like who the fuck do you think I want to target? An enemy that, like, when I'm hitting it, it's not going to deal any damage, or like the biggest threat, the riders. So anyway, this might be the last guy. Yeah, I think he is. And then, okay, so he disappears. I built up a UT, but they took it away from me, looks like. And then I had a couple left, so I don't know. Maybe it's hard to say. Maybe they just have one guy there to trigger this cutscene, which I probably would say that that's true. And then on this, make sure you just move the analog to the right there, and then you're going to moving it to the left. And fortunately, we get a save point, so as long as you clear that fight, it's not like you need a large pool of health for this next fight, because you're going to get that large pool of health in the form of a heal from the safe falcon that's coming up right over here. What I would do is I would equip my scythe, because we have brutes and claw ninja. I think that's the two enemies that are exclusive to this fight, but you'll do a little bit of slow walking, but he'll get off his intercom, and then we'll go right over here and do this next fight. Okay guys, did you see that last save point that we were at? We have a lot of hard fights to get to the next save point. I think on Razor's Edge they put in some sort of a save, another one of those save falcons. I was trying to remember what they were called. I think they put in another one at an area that I'll show you that's coming up. But there's a lot of fights coming up here, and they're damn hard too. Like, this one is not that bad. It's brutes and claw ninja here, and the idea is that the ice is cracking, so it gives you the impetus to hurry up. There's, I believe, 3 waves. You'll have brutes and claw ninja, and then you'll have more of the same, and then as a final wave you'll have some more of those olive-clad ninja. But you don't fight those guys, I believe. If you try to fight them, there's just too many of them and the ice will crack. That's what I remember from Razor's Edge, although there were different enemies over here. I'm not sure what they were. Probably, I don't know, I can't remember. But they've adjusted it here so that you can't use your Nimpo. But you'll probably go through a couple of UTs over here. I think we already gone through a UT? I was just doing this commentary that I noticed that I hadn't edited out the switching of one weapon, so I had to stop everything that I was doing and go back and edit it out, because it looks dirty with those in for some reason. But this is a very familiar tactic here, just on landing 360 Ys and into Izuna drop for the claw ninja, and for these guys here, you can chain the on landing 360 Ys if you want to, or you can just cancel out, jump around the room, try to launch. Okay, so we've built up a UT. I switched to my sword for the UT because I just like it a lot more. We switched back to the scythe because we've got more of these guys coming in. This wasn't too bad. I'm not sure how you'll fare on it. A lot of people have trouble with this room. It is annoying to try to do those on landing 360s and then kind of run into the wall. Here's another UT we built up, and this should be the end of the second wave, and then we'll have all these guys jumping down. So if you don't know where to go, click in the stick and it'll point you to the wall, and just jump towards it. And the next fight we are going to skip. There's going to be bugs, dogs, and alchemist. The alchemist will spawn in when you hit the egg sack on the flying bird flip wall, and then once you reach the top of that, you get a checkpoint. Although when you respawn, you'll be at the bottom of the flying bird flip wall, and no enemies will be present. So I would advise skipping these guys. I would advise trying to get through here without getting damaged too much, although that can be a tall order when, first of all, you can't see, second of all, there's just a whole jumbly of shit over here for you to deal with. So once again, click in the stick if you can't see where to go. It will show you the right way. There's the sack. When it drops, just get out of the way of it and do your flying bird flip. And then I've got a really cool tactic for you guys over here. When you get up here, shoot that, and then come over here and then shoot this sack, and then you'll unspawn all those alchemists and all the bugs, and then you'll just have this wave to deal with, which is like 7 or 8 of these guys. It's horrible. And I don't think you are allowed to use your Nimpo. Almost positive. No Nimpo. They've adjusted it again. The sons of whores. Yeah, they've adjusted it. Okay, so it's back to familiar business here, guys. I had trouble with this stupid room as well, but the next fight, pretty clean. And then the next fight after, guys, I swear to God, it's 3:30 in the morning right now. Ever since, like, I think it was 8 or 9, I've been trying to do this room up here. So it was like 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours on and off. I had no idea what I was in store for, and it had nothing to do with my HP. My HP was pretty good, and you're going to be healing pretty quickly, so that's not an issue. The main issue is you'll want the correct weapon, which in my opinion is the dragon sword, so have that equipped. Although if you have the other two weapons, going from either of those two to the dragon sword is very quick. So it's the Reaper. He is a huge problem in this game because he can't be one-shot killed like he can on Razor's Edge because there's no counterattack system, and he's just a fucking bastard. You know, you guard, he hits you, he takes off almost all of your life. It's just ridiculous. So we're gonna spam the on-landing 360Y for this guy. I was trying to do the ground-based 360Y, but it just doesn't have enough iframes, even though it's stronger. It just doesn't give you the protection you really need in this son of a fucking bitch. Hate him. Hate the Reapers. And the worst thing is there's 3 of them at the end. So that's when you want to use your Nimpo for sure. Okay, so we're coming up here now. This sheet of ice on the wall worried me, so I didn't want to, for instance, like fall off this wall and have to do that previous fight over, because that's pretty hard to deal with all those alchemists. I think so. The next weapon you'll want to have equipped is the dragon sword, because I believe you're going to have those slasher imps coming up, and they're very easily taken care of with the dragon sword. I think we'll have more alchemists, but the first wave is definitely the imps, I'm sure. I got pissed on the fight that's coming up after this next one. I got really pissed. I was shocked at how difficult this is. Anyway, so it looks like I've switched to the dragon sword. These imps should be spawning in here. We'll fight a bunch more of these guys in the next stage too. I don't understand the randomness of like the flying swallow. The Izuna drop works every time, provided you get it every time. The wind path and the flying swallow works every time. I just don't understand the random factor of the flying swallow on certain enemies, and you know, like the Izuna drop randomness on other enemies like the ninja. I don't understand it. Like, why can't it just be set in stone what works for other people? Why does it have to be, well, this one time we'll give you the flying swallow? It just doesn't make any sense. I can't stand it. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter how much health you have for this next part. I mean, yeah, it does kind of, but you're going to be healing quick, and you're going to be doing a lot of Izuna drops, so you're going to be really safe, and you're just going to be dealing with these guys who are really just, they're wily guys, and they're hard to work with, but the Izuna drop does work wonders on them, and I'm almost at the point where I just want to give up on the wind path. You'll see me do it a lot, but if you see me doing a lot of Izuna drops, it's mostly because, especially on these guys, it's mostly because the wind path is just failing me. Okay, so we're going to use the Nimpo here, and I think this is a finished fight. Yeah, but this part up here is just ridiculous. Okay, more? Okay, well, keep them coming, I guess, but only 2, that's good. And then look how far away the other one is from him, although he caught up a little bit. Oh, there's 3. They're kind of stacked on top of each other. Okay, so the next part is it's very by the numbers, because there's things that happen all the time. It's just that there's a couple of really kind of dirty things that the game does by having you see these slashers, they reanimate and turn into like bombs coming up, and I don't think anything like that went on in Razor's Edge. There we go. That was one of those situations where I had the whole world in front of me right there. Everything was open for the taking, and then I fucked up the combo. You know? Okay, so the first, it does bear mentioning, because this part is ridiculous. So on the next part, it's going to start with some slashers, and then they're going to gradually sift in some brutes for you. And what we're going to be doing is, wait, do they sift in the brutes? I think the brutes do come in the first wave. We'll see. We'll see for sure. Just keep the dragon sword equipped, just hands down. Okay, so we're going to be running to the wall, and see the face on the wall? That will trigger in a few minutes, but just do your wind paths in the flying swallow here, or the Azina drop. I like to do the wind path and the flying swallow because it has a very yeah, there are brutes here right away. Just ignore them. Just simply ignore them. Don't even worry about them. Just focus on your flying swallows and your wind paths and the flying swallows. Occasionally your flying swallow, your standard flying swallow will win, or excuse me, will land, but it's completely random. I like the Azina drop. It has this throw where see this right here. Sometimes you have to like slide over to them, and sometimes he just won't connect with the enemy and do the OT. But we're going to be building up our Nimpo here, and then taking everybody out that we can. See, look at that failure to connect right there. See, the problem here is that when the first Reaper spawns, they fucking steal your Nimpo, so you have to use it here. See, just use it here or you will lose it guaranteed. So once all of these enemies are cleared, all of the bodies of the slashers on the ground are going to reanimate once this guy detaches his ugly face from the door. So what I do is come up here, and wherever the bodies land, that's where they're going to come up. So did I get hit? Yeah. It's easy to get hit there. It's also fair if you go around the enemies and give them a wide berth. But okay, we're going to have more slashers here, and this face floating up there for now. What you want to do is do the Azuna drop as much as you possibly can, and if you can, take a look at what the face is doing, because if he has this purple light in his mouth, he's going to do his line in the ground and burn the ground. It's really hard to kind of anticipate like where it's going to be drawn on the ground. But just keep doing the flying swallow here, and after about 4 guys, you're going to have a couple more dead bodies rising up and coming at you like bombs. So you might want to try to, be like doing the Azuna drop at that point, or like the OT, so you have iframes like I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to kind of sync it up, and then at this point, I'm gonna shoot this so that the Reaper falls down, because I just want to focus on killing him right now. Even if the Brute is around, I don't care about the Brute. He can get hit at the same time for all I care. We're just going to do on landing 360 Ys and then buffer the next 360 as we're landing on the ground. And believe me, I'm not a specialist in this move. I'm not very good at this on landing 360 and chaining it, so I'm just not good at it. He'll go down quicker if you just do the 360 Y without the on landing 360 Y, but the ladder is much safer. And then once he's executed, you'll take him out. Don't use your Nimpo here. Wait until you kill the Brute. You can kill the Brute first and then focus on the Reaper if you like. But that fucking Reaper is ridiculous. He is so hard to fight, because he has massive range with the scythe, and blocking is it's helpful, and yet it's not, because he just takes so much health off. So you'll take this thing out, and then wait until these next enemies appear, the 3 faces, and then use your Nimpo here, and you've won the fight. And it doesn't matter how much health we get back, because we're coming up to a safe Falcon. That's ridiculous. I was shocked how hard that was. It just completely blindsided me. I had no idea that fight existed here. It's almost unremarkable on Razor's Edge, because you can just one-shot those guys after you counterattack their attacks. Not here, though. And here is another safe Falcon. We finally made it. That was probably one of the harder gauntlets we've faced in a day so far. So it's a day later, and I'm thinking about that fight that we just did, and I honestly think that it was a pretty easy fight, that one that we just did a moment ago. It's mostly getting comfortable with 360Y, you guys. We're going to be fighting a lot of Reapers coming up, and I just wanted to stress how, aside from this being a pretty poor game, it's fair to say that, but aside from that, I've really been enjoying my campaign, and I've really been... I don't want this experience to end, and I know it's going to end pretty soon because we're almost on day 7, and then from there we only have one day after that. But when I was doing, like, for instance, day 1, which so far has just had no rival in difficulty from the rest of the days, we'll see what happens, but still, when I was playing day 1 on those 2 fights that I mentioned, the opening fight and then the fight with the alchemists and then all the pirates and the marshalers and then the noobs and then the like the last onslaught with all the additional what are they called, alchemists. It really reminded me of when I was struggling on God of War 2 on that endurance fight in the Loom Chamber. And not often really does a really difficult game fall into your lap and really force you to learn it and adapt and to play it in a specific way to get better and to learn things and just overcome what you honestly you just don't think you can possibly do. And that's how it was for me. I couldn't ever imagine myself getting past the first fight. It was kind of strange, and I was quitting so many times, and I think that's good, actually, just to continually force yourself to do something that's challenging you. And it's really reinvigorated my spirits about this channel because that sort of like challenge level and overcoming that challenge level is what this channel was founded on. It really is. So I really want to stress that try to do things in your life that are like that, because those are really the most rewarding things. I mean, we're really coming so far away from even a game like this because the challenge level is just not even apparent anywhere. So I believe you get a checkpoint over here. I didn't die over here, so I don't know, but on Razor's Edge you do, so just bear that in mind. And then you're going to have a rocket launcher guy up here. And yeah, I didn't really struggle at all for the rest of the chapter. And that's strange because there's more Reapers coming up here, but I guess I'm learning a little bit better how to do the 360Y and to buffer the inputs to perpetuate that attack. So we'll just work with these guys here. You can't OT them when they're incendiary like that and blowing up, which they changed on Razor's Edge. You can execute them in that phase, but for some reason on the original they didn't want you to do that. So on this next fight, make sure you equip your Falcon's Talons, and you're going to get a checkpoint up here, and out of the window will burst all these alchemists. And this is a really good environment to fight these guys because the right angle of the walls over here is really easy to use to your advantage. I'm also a little sick of the auto lock-on with the shurikens when these guys throw their projectiles, trying to cancel them out with my projectile. The lock-on is abysmal, and so is the wind path. Absolutely abysmal. So we are going to have a Reaper over here, but this is a situation... Well, is it or not? Because it doesn't look like the Nympho is accruing in the normal fashion because it's that pale yellow. I do know in the next wave, I believe I think they changed that because... No, maybe they don't. I think it's just that the UT works properly here. The UT never gets altered, it's just the Nympho that gets altered. So yeah, you're not going to be able to use Nympho over here. Okay, so after you kill this one, or excuse me, once you've killed 2, you're going to have these guys coming at you, so try to kill this one as quickly as possible. And then you're going to have slashers, so I believe I've edited out every time I switch the weapon. And just slashers, I think, for now. We probably will get a Reaper coming in a moment. So the real challenge of this game is, I think, learning to adapt to the controls. It's not necessarily learning the controls, although that is helpful. Here's the Reaper. Even though your back is to him, if he's off the camera, he's still going to light the ground up with fire occasionally. And what we're going to do now is control the situation by first of all building up our UT, and then saving the UT until we get away from those bombs. Try to save as much health as you can. The next fight is a little longish, but I was surprised that they give you a checkpoint. I know on Raised Edge they do, but I was thinking to myself, on the vanilla version, maybe it's a little rougher, but it's actually not. It's a moment of grace in a pretty much graceless game. So you can also execute targets with the X button if you wanted to do that. Okay, so for some reason these guys must be pre-programmed to blow up. But we're going to take this guy out with what looks like an Izuna drop, and then we'll drop this guy. He looks sort of like Satan to me. I don't know what he is. But once you drop him, just use this. See, what happened is, fucking A, man. I'm sorry, guys. It's so hard to get those out of there. It really annoys me because I try to get every single one of those. Okay, you're going to switch to your Falcon's Talons here, but I actually switched in this corridor, and it saved me back before I kicked in the gate, and I had to switch the weapon every time. So jump off the ledge here and execute these guys as you come in, or I should just say the first guy. And how many are there? Oh, this part? Yeah, this is really simple. Just, actually, yeah, I would say the Dragon Sword. No, not the Falcon's Talons. You'll be switching to the Falcon's Talons, but for now, I would use this. I mean, a lot of the same moves can be done with the Falcon's Talons, but I'm just a lot more comfortable with the Dragon Sword. I've always liked the Dragon Sword. So we're going to be building up our Nimpo and our UT by executing these new rocket launcher guys. Situations like this always make things easier when they give you a really simple target to build up your UT and things like that, and your Nimpo. Although I believe we've taken out all the easy targets. Okay, one down. Nimpo is built up. I'm going to drop it. And I believe we're getting ushered. I think we're getting ushered into the next phase of this little fight here. Unless, yeah, one guy left. Is it just one or two? Just one. And I believe the checkpoint occurs after you kill the Reaper, and then there's 3 more Reapers on Ultimate Ninja. So I still feel badly that I didn't edit out that goddamn weapon switch earlier. I'm sorry, guys. I could exit out, but I'm on a roll with the commentary, and we'll just have to leave it be. I also read a comment. Somebody in video 1 was mentioning that I mixed up the input signals on when I did the button input presses that you're supposed to do for moves. I used some PlayStation references and Xbox references, so I apologize. They were meant to be Xbox exclusive ones. Since I'm using this game on the 360, but you don't get. I don't believe you get a checkpoint until you clear this guy, and then there's 3 more after him. So all you do is you just jump over to him, and when you're about to land, right before you land, rotate the analog 360 degrees at any starting point, and then press Y, and then you'll launch yourself as you hit this guy, and then as you're landing, do the same input. Okay. Miraculously, they give you a checkpoint here, and there's a little crossfade there, or I don't know what you really call those, but to make a couple of clips that don't look good kind of work together more smoothly. And this is really like the best thing to do to this guy because it gives you a lot of protection. It's not the most damaging move, but it's a safe move to do on just a ridiculous enemy. It's absolutely ridiculous. So you see me very frequently failing. I don't know how that worked either. Maybe I got a random steal on Bone. It didn't seem like he was at death's door for sure. Here's this Second guy, don't be anywhere near them when they land. Even if you're blocking, you take massive damage. You take massive damage on everything for this guy. And it's just, I don't know, it's just unfair. Because he hits you and it's just ludicrous. Like the damage you receive and the detection of like what he's hitting you, like where he's hitting you, it's just not, it's not fair. So yeah, just be careful of that. If you can't get out of the way, just quickly jump and do the on landing 360Y. You'll have iframes. I've never liked this enemy. I mean, it's a pretty cool enemy. I like it in Razor's Edge because you can one-shot it skillfully. You don't, like, it's not handed to you. You get it through skill, and I like that. Like, you can be really skillful on this guy and still get your ass kicked. Okay, is this the final guy? I think it is. So keep your, okay, so how this is gonna work, oh, there's one more guy. So when you slaughter this guy and take him out, if you're gonna be skipping the hordes that come up, keep your scythe on. If you're not, then put the dragon sword on. I'm gonna do the fights that are coming up, but if you don't want to do them, just feel free to skip them. They're completely avoidable. And the two bosses that we have are absolute jokes, so don't even worry about it. Here he goes. Smash X, take him down, and then it's going to bring you over here. Wait a second until the falcon comes down, though. See, you can actually run past that without even realizing there's a falcon there. Okay, so here they come. Pirates and the slashers, the imps. The reason I'm doing this is because I thought to myself, I could probably do this, I could do these fights pretty cleanly if I just do them, and I don't really want to run past everything and try to not take much damage, especially with rocket launcher guys, because they're just nuisances. So it's just kind of running against a tide, or kind of swimming against a tide. It's just kind of sickening. So I decided to just do the fights. I mean, the bosses are so simple with the techniques I'll show you. There should be one guy that you can hit from here. There he is. And then you'll have, I think, more of the same coming out. I'm glad there aren't any dogs here. I know on Razor's Edge there were a bunch of dogs here. Took some damage right there. You know what? Why doesn't, when that thing explodes, it really should damage the enemies. That would be a lot fairer. But all these guys can be taken out with wind paths into flying swallows. The pirates, of course, will resist the Zune drops, but the slashers won't. But trying to lock onto different enemies is probably going to be hard when there's so many grouped together in a compact way. Okay, so this guy is only just one guy left, so we'll take him out. And it looks like I got a little turned around here, so we're gonna have to fix our internal navigator and then head on over here. There should be a guy standing right over here, so just quickly stun him. And here's the final wave, just more of the same. Take this guy out quickly though. So the bosses on this version are considerably easier than Razor's Edge, even though the second boss is broken if you do. I think it's no matter what weapon you use. I don't think they ever fixed it. So we're gonna use this to massacre everybody who's left. Is that everybody? Oh, we got a couple. Well, just one. Let's take care of this pirate. There's a pirate crawling around. There we go. And this thing started to fire up, and I got the hell out of the way. Okay, one more left. Can we get a wind path to work? I guess I failed it, and I decided to go for an Izuna drop. So equip your scythe up here, and then we're going to be working on these bosses here with 360Y on landings. Now the first fight is kind of scripted. It's really short, and it's going to start right over here, and the very essence of this fight revolves around this particular move here. So just jump towards him on 9360Y, XXY to Izuna drop. And I'm unfamiliar with this because I've only ever played Razor's Edge, so I did not ever see this coming. You just approach him and I believe just mash X or Y and it's done. That is a much longer and harder fight on Razor's Edge. Okay, so there's the achievement, and then here's phase 2. They give you a checkpoint, so don't sweat it. Try to not take too much damage here because the fight after this is arguably harder than this. And like both of these, like the combined difficulty is just less than the shitty ghosts that are coming up. So there's a steel on bone. When he has that blood around him, he's going to either throw Nimpo or does he do? I don't think he does UTs on this version. He could though, so just be careful. I know he throws like some kind of a blood void at you, but just same tactic. There's no difference. Same tactic, and it will lock you into these steel on bones too. Once you've damaged him. Okay, he's gonna throw his blood void, so just get out of the way. And then we have a UT built up, and we're gonna use it and just abuse this guy. I think is he dead? Not quite yet. So, okay, I think he was preparing to do a UT. It's also important if you can, if it can be helped, you guys. Yeah, he does UTs. Before you take this guy out, switch to the Dragon Sword for the ghosts. If you can. I know it might be difficult, especially if they're locking you into a cutscene. So this appears to be scripted too, and all you're doing is kind of walking towards him and tapping or mashing X as it were. But yeah, this fight here was pissing me off because I had some issues with the ghosts. So click in both triggers and tap A to open the door. That doesn't happen on Razor's Edge. I don't think are there ghosts here on Razor's Edge? I don't know, man. I think there are some mages on Razor's Edge, but with only this amount of health, it's really difficult. And one time I did this whole room and there was just one of these guys left, and then he came out of nowhere and did some like huge combo on me and ended me, and I was almost at full health. This is so difficult to deal with these guys, you know. So just the same tactic here, guys. Throw a shuriken to stun. When they look down, flying swallow. It's just it's just a badly designed enemy, the way they spam those bombs, and just it would be improved if they just didn't spam the bombs and maybe just didn't do chip damage on you constantly. And it does put pressure on you. It does, I admit that. So, you know, but anything could put pressure on anybody. Their presence should just be the pressure, you know. And of course you can't. They prohibit you from using Nimpo here, so you're not going to be able to heal or use Nimpo. You probably won't even use your UT because it won't build up. It just won't. And after this fight, there's some alchemists coming in. And if I knew there was a checkpoint, I would have done this, but I didn't know, and I don't think there is one. So I really struggled to do these fights, guys. It took at least an hour. Like the boss took 5, maybe 10 minutes at the most, like both bosses. This took a good hour. This was pissing me off because I was wanting to get to the save feature, you know, when you save your game after you go through a level. Because I'm always constantly worried. I'm always worried about it crashing, but it only has crashed once. But that's enough to put fear in me. Okay, so these guys are going to come in, and I thought, and I think I did have a UT, but they took it away from me when the fucking alchemists come in. Yeah, thanks for taking it away from me. Thanks. I mean, really, thank you. Thank you for taking what I had away from me that I earned. I earned a UT, you guys took it away from me. Fuck you. This is rotten up here, too, because if you die on this cockpit fight over here on the plane, they put you at the bottom of this whole wall. And I don't have too much health, so this could be a bit of a nuisance too. I hate this. Because even if you guard all the bullets, they break your guard and deal more damage to you. See? I think I'm just gonna try to guard. Am I guarding? No. I'm just jumping around a little bit, I think. Same deal from day 2, guys. Just, I would say 360 Ys, not on landings, because these are more powerful. And it may take two sessions. So just don't attack it until that yellow panel glows. And that's when it gives you an opportunity to hit it, and that's when it doesn't fire. So yeah, we didn't do too well there, but we were just trying to survive. And then we've got a little bit more, well, I mean, is it a little bit of climbing? It's egregiously long. And the camera is absolutely horrible here. But damn, dude, it's almost day 7. And I love day 7 too, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all the changes that they did. Or, well, I shouldn't say that. I just want to see how it really was in the beginning. But look at all this fucking climbing. What a great climax to the whole chapter right here. And I'm gonna actually see how long we have here on the video. So anyway, I want to thank you guys very much. Day 6, just that one fight that I had troubles with so much. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm going to see you guys in day 7. Only 2 days left, guys. Only 2 left. Look how long yeah, thanks. I really want to do this at the end of a chapter. Just climb this long. You've got to love this game, don't you? Take care.